Hello, my name is Raymond. Welcome to another video. The last video that I made on how to reach top 1% did pretty well, and I appreciate everyone who watched that one. If you haven't seen it yet, I will leave a link down below. Today I was thinking of making another one of these podcast slash guides, and I will focus this one more on League of Legends, but I would say this topic also fits for also other games. So today's topic is going to be how to escape Elo Hell. Now, first of all, we need to understand what is Elo Hell. Elo Hell is a term created for, let's say, a division or a place where it is hard, but it is hard because of, let's say, the environment rather than the division itself. And that's why people have created this term. Now, Elo Hell doesn't mean that it is only, let's say, at the lower divisions. I would say Elo Hell, it is almost in every division, or it has patterns almost in every division. Usually this one is, let's say, around bronze iron. That's where the first, let's say, Elo Hell is. I would say low gold, for the reason where a lot of people climb there for the season rewards, then they quit playing as tryhard as they want to play, but that hurts others. Emerald, I would say Emerald, it's one of the worst Elo Hells, because people are looking to achieve, again, top percentage, trying to get to diamond, but that also means that people are not over tryharding, but expressing their feelings more than they should, instead of just focusing on the game. But also Elo Hell, it could be like Diamond 1, same story as Emerald. And yeah, that's about Elo Hell. Now, this one is going to be split in 3 core points. So let's start with the first one. I would say the first point here, in order for us to escape Elo Hell, is going to be to analyze ourselves. What do I mean by that? I would say we need to understand if we are a player that plays a lot of games or not a lot of games. Because a lot of times I found that players, including also myself, in moments where they're losing a lot and they just rage queue, and that hurts the whole concept of climbing out of these Elo Hells. But also I found scenarios of players where they're not playing too much. They're playing not a lot of games. Now, if you are a player who plays more than 5 games per day, we're gonna categorize you as a player who is in the bracket A, which again is the players who play a lot of games. If you're a player who plays less than 2 games, so 2 games or below that, we're gonna categorize you in the pretty much in the B bracket. Now, for people who play more than 5 games, we need to start to analyze ourselves. How many of these games truly we believe that we have had a good performance, in a sense of like playing our best gameplay, and how many of these games we have been just rage queuing after losses and stuff like that. And that will give you an example of how many games you have pretty much, I wouldn't say lost because of you, but we played where we shouldn't have played. And if you remove those games from the whole win rate, you will see like your win rate is going to be better. Now, same for players who are not playing a lot of games. How many times you have left on, let's say, a win? You just played one game, you won that one, and you left. Now, that could also have created a scenario where you would start to win, or a win rate would go up because of win streak. But also, I mean, it could also be a loss. So the best scenario for this one is very simple. It is to create a strategy in the sense how much games we want to play and to know that before we even start playing. Usually for myself, I keep it like this. I try to play a best of 3 against myself. And when I have time, a best of 5 against myself. So that means that I'm playing until I win 2 games or lose 2 games. It could be 1 win, 2 losses. It could be 0 wins, 2 losses. Or it could be 2 wins, 1 loss, or 2 wins, 0 loss. So again, which number I hit first, I leave. Regardless if it's win or lose. Which number I hit first as a number 2, I would leave. So again, playing against myself in the sense of best of 3 or best of 5. Now there are times where, again, I do not apply this rule to myself, but for the most part, that's what I do. And this keeps me in a good habit. Why? Because let's say I want to play, I have time to play, and I want to play a lot of games. A best of 5 for me is good enough. Why? Because I get to play at least like 3, 4, 5 games, which is nice, and it keeps me from playing more. Why I don't play more? Because I would say I'm a player that fits more in the second bracket. I feel like the more I play, the more tired I become, and I lose, let's say, focus on the game. So that's why I have created this style of playing like that. But for players who have the ability to maintain the performance and play more and more and more, it is very simple. You can play best of 5, best of 7, and so and so and so, and just add that. But you need to have that number from the beginning. So let's say you woke up, you did your job and whatever, you come home, and you're getting ready to play. You need to have that number in your brain, like, okay, today it's a best of 5 or a best of 7. Once you reach that one, even if it's just 0-4, it doesn't matter. You stop there and you move on. Why is that important? Because that one will again create a foundation where you're there to play those games, and sooner or later you will start to give all your best for those games, and those games are going to feel like you're giving your best in each of those, and you're not going to be fixated with just one game or just like being sad that you lost one game, because you know that you have to play this best of 3 or best of 5 or best of whatever, and your brain is going to be kind of like more forgivable with yourself and also with what happened into the game, rather than just like, oh, I lost this game so badly, why that happened to me, and these types of things. So that's why that is important, creating a system where you know how much games you're gonna play, because again, this has a lot of downsides in the sense of playing too much. Whoever plays too much or plays too little tends to kind of like stay around these divisions, these Elo Hell. And again, the more you play in a division, the harder it becomes to kind of like escape. Why? Because our brain tends to do the same thing subconsciously, to do the same thing over and over and over. And we forget how to climb out of that division, or we don't get to see patterns or the enemy mistakes, how to climb that out of that division. But once you're playing in a structured way, as am I saying, you will have the ability to recognize more patterns and find yourself in scenarios where you can climb out of that division. I can also tell a story about overplaying. I used to play so much, I would say 2015, so season 5, almost 10 years ago. And around that time I was like platinum, and I was trying my best to get to diamond, but as I say, I would say platinum. It is Elo Hell. Well, it was, because now it's emerald. And I would, let's say, queue up at 10 p.m, 9 p.m, and I would find myself playing. Then I would just like, I would say, lost like 2-3 games in a row, and then I was so obsessed with just winning one game. I wanted just to win one game, and then I wanted to go to sleep, but the win didn't came. I was just playing and playing and playing and just losing and losing. So I was Platinum 2. And I got my first win, I think like 8 in the morning or 9 in the morning. And then I looked at my profile, and I was like Platinum 5 something LP. Which, whenever I woke up the same day, I woke up like around like 3, 4. Then I remember like, oh, why did I do that? Why did I do that to myself? Because I stayed all night. I lost every LP that I had there. Now I have to do it all over again. And remember, back in the day, there were promotions in each division. So from Platinum 5 to Platinum 4, you had to play the promotion to win two games out of 3. So a best of 3. And that kind of like there, from there, I was like, I knew that you shouldn't overplay the game. Now, there are scenarios that can happen, but still, I think that's the core number 1 point. Not overplaying the game, but also underplaying the game. Moving on to point number 2, which is going to be performance. Now, this is also just as important as point number 1. Performance has to do with ourselves deserving the higher rank. Now, I have been around, again, League for so many years. I had the ability to watch players, let's say, play at a certain rank and be better, but yet play in that rank. I have had the ability to see players who are not that good, but yet at the higher rank. Because we need to understand that climbing isn't only about just winning or just being good at the game. I would say climbing is just, again, finding ourselves to get that division. But in order to escape Elo Hell, performance is key. Because a lot of times I would get, let's say, upset in a lane why the game is not going how I wanted, or this X lane is let's say losing, it's feeding, the usual stuff, right? But I always questioned myself in the sense of like, okay, but why do you deserve the win? Have you done anything in this game so far to deserve the win? You're even. You're just like the enemy laner that you're playing against. So why do you deserve the win over that guy? Are you chosen by someone, or what's going on here? And that one always pushed me to find ways to get ahead. So whenever I'm playing the game, first of all, I look to earn a spot to win the game rather than not doing that. You guys might think, okay, what about times where you are not playing so well, or do you play so well every game? No, I don't play well every game. There are games where, of course, I have bad scores. It happens to all of us. In the end, we're humans. But in also those games where I don't have good scores, it's not like, oh, I give up. Of course, I try my best, but knowing that even if I lose that one, in the end, it wasn't in my hands in order to, let's say, not carry, but to do that. There are gonna come games where I would do better, but that's the point with performance. You need to earn your spot, and it doesn't have to be with every game. It starts simple. It starts with 6 out of 10 games. 6 out of 10 games you have to kind of like be better than your counterpart in terms of like whoever is the opponent. So it doesn't matter. You can be a laner or a jungler or whatever. You have to do better in the sense of score-wise, not in the terms of just becoming a KDA player, but you have to do better. And then from there, yeah, the mid to late game can go bad, but still 6 out of 10. That's the baseline. If you're doing less than that, it means that you need practice. You're not in Elo Hell, you just need practice. So it starts with 6, and we want to bump that up to 7. Once you're 8 out of 10 times doing better than the enemy laner, you will climb no matter what. No matter what. There is no excuse, you will climb. The climb will be there. I never seen in my life someone that does 8 out of 10 times better than the enemy laner, and he's staying in the same division ever. So what do I mean by doing better? It's not just like, oh, a wave like 6 CS it means like either you have killed them more than 2-3 times, in the sense of like you have 2-3 kills more than the enemy, or you take their tower and the score wise it's even. That's kind of like what I mean. In the jungle, I would say it's a little bit different. It's more about like unlocking a lane. So it's more like unlocking a lane before the enemy jungler 7 or 8 out of time in terms of games. That's about performance. I would say again, it is a thing that it will change the way how you guys view it, but that's where it starts. It starts with us understanding things, analyzing ourselves, and then also looking upon ourselves in the sense of, do we even deserve, first of all, the win? And if so, how many times am I doing this out of 10 times? And then that will be the one of the main things that will give you an edge to not only surpass Elo Hell, but to become a consistent player. Because again, as I said, I have seen so many good players be in a division where they shouldn't be. They should be higher, right? But they have games where one game they are doing incredible. They're just like killing the game. They're just so good at everything, at fighting, at objectives, at macro, at CS and everything. And then the other game, you will see them with a lot of deaths, with you barely gonna recognize them. You're gonna be like, is this the same player that was the other game? Now, don't get me wrong, every player in the game, from Faker to whoever can be in the lower divisions, will have bad games. Sooner or later, we'll have bad games, we'll have losing streaks. You cannot avoid that, because again, we're humans. We don't wake up every time the same. Sometimes we wake up sharper, sometimes we're a little bit sluggish. So that's why I'm saying the first point here of not overplaying the game will keep you from just adding on in terms of over losing. And then the performance wise, with us targeting these objectives that we put ourselves, will make you more will make you more consistent in terms of playing the game, which again will result on climbing out of these divisions. Now, a lot of times I remembered myself, this is a good example that I use with players that I help at the work that I do as a coach. I used to remember watching streamers back, again, 2014, 13, when I was around like gold, silver, and I would watch them play in the similar division as I was playing. So I would wait for, let's say, a random streamer to open a fresh account and play at those divisions. And whenever they were playing, I would always say, look, I think these players have these accounts rigged by Riot Games, because look at the teammates that they get, right? The teammates that they're getting, they're playing so much better than my teammates, and this doesn't seem fair. But the more I climbed all the way to their divisions that they were at that time, I understood that it was never the teammates, it was always them. They made them teammates look better, because again, consistency, doing the same thing over and over and over, but to a point where they do it so good that it looks easy. So that's kind of like always goes back to the performance. And that's pretty much point number 2. So again, we talked about analyzing ourselves and performance. Now moving on to point number 3. Again, just as important as the 2 previous points. Point number 3 is gonna be mindset. Mindset, it is a huge deal when it comes to this. Because of mindset, we overplay the game. Because of mindset, we have bad performances. Because of mindset, all these things, they pretty much, this is kind of like the root problem of these games. Because sometimes we have a mindset of like being overconfident, like, okay, today I'm gonna crush it. Today I will play this game and I'm just gonna do so well. And then all of a sudden we find ourselves in the first game and you have someone AFK and you're like, ah. And then the second game, something goes wrong. You don't get to play how you wanted to play, and then all of a sudden you find yourself just like dying too much. And then, because of the strong mindset or weak mindset, it gets separated in two roads. Road number one, weak mindset, it leads to us overplaying the game and just not performing whatsoever good, right? And the strong mindset tells us, okay, look, I'm already 0-2. I played already best of 3. Was my target best of 3 today? No, it was best of 5. Okay, I play another one. And then from there, again, you get to either stop it or win the next game and move on. But the other one, that the first one, weak mindset, it will keep you with lose and lose and lose and lose. So the mindset, it is, again, accepting things for what they are. I'm not saying that will never get you tilted. I get tilted. Everyone gets tilted. It's part of human nature, but it's on us how much we're gonna get tilted. It's on us on how much we're gonna let that affect us. So the mindset, it is the key to this one. Don't, let's say, lie to yourself, or don't over motivate yourself. Be real. Have a target, of course, but go into these games expecting that you will play well, or having, let's say, high standards for yourself, but do not expect anything else. And even if that doesn't happen, of you playing well, of course, you might get sad at yourself, but after the game, try to refresh yourself and go in. That's kind of like a thing where I do, and I also recommend it to others, and they have had great success with, is that I go into the game and let's say I'm losing, I might get very sad, but I have trained myself all over these years that when the game ends, I have, let's say, like a switch. Boom, 1-2 minutes passed, boom. Okay, I'm ready for another one. And it's like, to me, it's like that game, it's not like that didn't happen, but that game is in the past, and I move on. So I would say that's kind of like the right mindset of just trying your best and expecting things from yourself, but not from others. And then if that doesn't happen, we move on. But again, remembering the first and second things that we talked about, not overplaying and creating a balance in between how many games we're going to play and performance. And when you link them up with a good mindset, strong mindset, in the sense of, again, that's why you're here, and that's your challenge of overcoming this Elo Hell, that's going to be the key to pretty much passing these divisions or climbing out of these divisions. I used to struggle a lot of kind of like, not, I wouldn't say blaming the teammates, but expecting of like different scenarios, like, okay, why this game this guy, okay, why this game the other person kind of like feeded, why this and that, until one of my friends told me like years and years ago, where just approach it as if you were playing, again, a story game, but every game has a different quest, right? So a game, you might have a quest where, let's say, this lane is just 0-4, for example. Another game, you might have a quest where another lane is 0-3. Another quest might be, you might have a hard lane, but everyone is doing well. So every game, it is a different quest, and that's why League, it is, I would say, addictive, because every game, it is different. There are so many things that can go different, but in terms of having bad games, there will always be someone to have a bad game in your team, but majority of the times also in the enemy team. So it's on us how we pretty much receive this information, in the sense of like, do we see that as a threat? Oh, this X lane is ending my game. Or do we see it like, okay, this is that quest, so I have to try hard because, again, I want to finish this quest. And that's pretty much about this episode. So again, analyzing ourselves, performance, and mindset. Those are the 3 core points. Now, I have also decided to open a Discord channel. I will leave the link below where you guys can join for free, and you guys can question their things around League, but not also League, about other stuff, and of course I will answer them for free. The first week and the second week I will also do op.gg reviews for free, and that's pretty much about that. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below, or any suggestion what should the next episode be on, and that's pretty much about that. Goodbye.